Hi Flosstube, I'm Shelly and this is Antique Needleworkers. This is a channel about cross stitch and all of my crafty endeavors, and I'm so glad you joined me here today. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it, friends? Well, this fall has proven to be very eventful, so lots of fun things, but a few that are not so fun things, but that's okay. We're just going to keep a smile on our face. So if this is your first time here, I welcome you and I thank you so much for joining me here today. And if you are a longtime subscriber, I thank you for returning again and again. And thank you so much. I hope that you all find something here that inspires you and makes you want to stitch and be creative and spurs you along. So anyhow, what have I been up to? Well, since I last filmed, I went to Amana, Iowa, which was an absolutely amazing time. It's one of my favorite things to do in the fall. I love to go out there. Michelle Rudy, Farm Girl Dry Goods, puts on a wonderful event, and I have made some wonderful friends, and I enjoyed myself so much. And that will be sprinkled throughout the video, talking about that with acquisitions and showing you our retreat piece, etc. So yeah, I went to Amana, and I got home, and when I got home, they thought I had a kidney stone, and so there was a couple really rough days there, and then yeah, then it was decided that I had a kidney infection, and so yeah, pretty darn painful. Midlife, just telling the truth, this is not the first one, so yeah, I don't like that part of midlife, but anywho, almost done with antibiotics and feeling so much better. And then we came up on last week, and last Saturday my stepdad passed away, and so yeah, this is the second loss we've had this fall. In the September, I lost my aunt, and so yeah, so just really hoping that that old adage that it comes in threes does not occur. We have not had the funeral yet. Yesterday was Thanksgiving, and due to the holiday, the funeral will be next Wednesday, and I'm the ordained minister in our family, so I will be officiating the funeral, in which I am totally honored to do so. Yeah, but doing a funeral for your own family is, whew, so if you'd like to say a prayer for me, I'd appreciate that. So, but anyway, let's talk about good stuff. Whew, life update over. So anyway, so that's what I've been up to. I have got several emails, and I want to talk about some of those things. I'm making those into a maker's moment today. And then I have a lot of happy mail, and look, I've got baskets and bins everywhere. I am inundated all under this this quilt frame and around it, because just buckle up, Buttercup. You know I can do a long video, and it's about ready to happen. So anyhow, let's start with our emails and maker's moments. I had received a wonderfully sweet email from Pat in Nebraska, and hi Pat. And before I even start, I want to say hi Rachel. Rachel is Pat's daughter, and I am so thrilled that I heard just as much about Rachel as I did the question from her mother, Pat. She is one of Antique Needleworkers' biggest fans, and I am so thrilled that that I can inspire another generation. That is just tickles my heart. And Rachel, I just am excited. I wish that I could extend my hand through the camera and give you a big handshake and hug. But hello, Rachel. I wanted to say hi to you today. So, but back to her mother, Pat. Pat had sent me an email, and she had said that she wanted to try silk and was asking me some questions. And amongst that question, what she said to me is, I'm an Ada stitcher, and is it really worth the investment? And I immediately chimed back into Pat, because I wanted to instill some confidence in her. And so today, my maker's moment is be confident. Be confident in the things that you do. I hear so many things from stitchers, such as, well, I stitch on Ada. I actually had got a comment on a post prior to Pat's email, and it was from a viewer who was actually going to be at Amana, and she had posted on my had commented on my post where I showed my piece that I had done as my giveaway, my small exchange. And she said, I'm so excited to meet you, but I didn't stitch a small because I stitch on Ada, and who wants something stitched on Ada? To my dismay that I read that, and I was like, yes, somebody would like your item regardless of what your ground fabric is. And so with two things, a comment and also having an email with kind of the same theme running through it, I thought, Shelley, you need to talk about this. And I have talked about it before, but I'm really going to talk about it today. And the premise of my maker's moment is be confident, have confidence. And how I'm going to discuss that is this. Whether you stitch on Ada, whether you stitch on linen, whether you stitch on needlework canvas, whether you stitch on plastic canvas, whether you stitch on cloth, whether you stitch on whatever it is you stitch on, that doesn't constitute whether you're a good stitcher or not. What constitutes a good stitcher is stitching well. And so whether you stitch on a tablecloth, linen, Ada, cloth, Osnaburg, no matter whether it's 10 count or 56 count, it really doesn't matter. That doesn't constitute a good stitcher. That just means some people have better vision. But what constitutes a good stitcher is someone who stitches well. And what do I mean by stitching well? Stitching well means that you give it your best. You do your best. You execute your stitches well. We've all slapped in some stitches before, and we know that we're not stitching well. We're just getting done. But what constitutes good stitching is the effort to which you put in that. Learning some new stitches, learning some new techniques such as a nun stitch, continuing to grow in your craft. But stitching well constitutes a good stitcher, not the count of your fabric. Your fabric is a ground fabric for the stitches that are therein placed upon. So therein lies my point. Your stitches, not your ground fabric. Now, yes, we all want to expand our horizons, and we want to learn and do all kind of things. Combinations of different threads with different fabric counts. Trying linen when you've only stitched on Ada. Trying something new, such as, a different stitch or technique. That is what constitutes good stitching. And anyone who is putting an effort into their project, that's what constitutes good stitching. And so that is where you should gain your confidence, not on what type of fabric you stitch on. I want to encourage each and every one of you, my friends, that regardless of what you stitch on, yes, people do want your pieces when there's a smalls exchange. Because when I receive a smalls exchange, I've received some smalls exchanges that may not have been in my genre or the way that I decorate, but I have considered each and everything that I have received a absolute treasure because someone else put their effort behind it and tried their very best to make something beautiful to share with another stitcher. And funny enough, even if it's not in my style or if it's not in the way I do things, every single piece that I have is displayed. Every single thing that I have is used. And it never mattered to me what it was stitched on. So, stitching friends, be confident. That's what I want you to be today. If you stitch on Aida, be confident. And yes, by all means, put the silk on it. Why not? As a matter of fact, I was so spurred on by this that I had a piece that was in my stitching library, and I knew, and it's a big sampler, and I knew that I had started it and put a couple stitches, just a few little stitches in on it, and it is on Aida. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to put that in my whips for right now, because I want to show my viewers that even, I like to stitch on 46, I like to stitch on Aida, I like to stitch on Lugana, I like to stitch on linen. I will stitch on anything, perforated paper, anything, because I'm executing my stitches to the best of my ability. That's just my ground fabric. And so, pardon me. So I put one of my Aida projects that only had a few stitches in it, and I put a bunch of stitches in it so that I could be an encouragement to all of you out there who are feeling less than because for some reason the mental stitching police have come after you and made you feel like your stitching was subservient to someone else's. It's not. And I would encourage you, I don't care what you stitch on, put some silk into it if you want to try some silk. If you want to try overdyed and you've only used DMCs, I want you to do it and be confident in it and be proud of it and display it in your home. Share it with your friends and participate in those smalls exchanges. Don't miss out on those fun things in life, because I think you'd be surprised, and anybody would be thrilled and honored to have the things that you stitch, regardless of what you stitch it on. So today I want you to be confident in your choices that make you happy, because that is what stitching is supposed to do, is make us happy, correct? And if you have a favorite count, and if you have a favorite ground fabric, you stitch on it because it's about you, not about someone else. Be confident in the things that you love, and your stitching will even be more beautiful. Let me promise you that. So that today is my maker's moment. Be confident and just stitch away, friends. Don't let those little mice on the wheels in your brain that pretend to be the stitching police get the best of you. There's no need for that. Your stitching is lovely no matter what you've stitched it on, whatever it is. So there is my maker's moment. So anyhow, now let's move on to some Happy Mail, because I actually have a ton of Happy Mail. I have this basket over here, and the first things that I received, I want to pull them up first because they are the oldest. But Linda Richter from Richter Stitcher on Flosstube here, she made some things and sent them out to some of us, and it was just so sweet. She sent this bag of goodies. There's candies and bookmarks, and there's a little tin filled with buttons and a needle threader, and this is my favorite color, blue, because Linda was listening. And she sent some DMC and some NPI blue silk for me. And like I said, there's some candy in here. And then she stitched a little cloth for me. She crocheted this. But look at this. She made this beautiful fob for me with a butterfly and blue beads and my name and a little heart. Thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate your thoughtfulness and sending me this special gift. I will treasure this always. That came from Linda. And then everybody who I sent out last time, the giveaways, they all sent me gifts back. Thanks, guys. This one came from Susan Salazar, and she just wanted to send a quick note. And she had won something, and so she sent me something back. Oh my goodness. We know that I collect the antique sewing baskets. Would you look at that? I thought I had found the smallest one. No, this is the smallest one I have ever seen, ever. It's got all of its coins and its beads. And look at how, it's cupcake size. That's what I keep thinking is, it's a little sewing basket cupcake. And Susan, thank you so much. What a treasure. I will treasure this for always. And I think that I'm going to fill it with my favorite thimbles because that way they're always close when I go to hand quilt. I love them and I love this. Thank you, Susan. That was so kind of you. And then let's see. Okay, here, look at this beautiful card. I love it so much. And this came from the Granite State Stitcher, Kara, and from her granddaughter, Allie. And she sent me a beautiful little bling. Let me take it out of the bag here. I left everything as is so I wouldn't lose it. It's got pretty buttons, and then it's got the Teresa Kogut's wool and sheep. And just a precious sweet card. Thank you so much, Kara. And she shouted me out twice on her videos recently, so shouting you back out, Granite State Stitcher. She is on a list of people I've been watching, and I will tell you all about that because while I was convalescing from that kidney infection, let me tell you, I did get a lot of stitching done, but it was prior to and after the pain subsided because I was out of my mind and I could not focus on a pattern. So I would turn on Flosstube and I would hand piece and hand quilt because I didn't have to look at a pattern. So anyway, but I did watch you, Kara. And I got a thank you note from Dee Burchell, and she had received, she wanted to thank me so much for the Bluebird of Happiness in one of my prior giveaways. And then I got another sweet card. Look at this. She's reading. It's a Monet. Isn't that beautiful? And this came from Jennifer Parr. I think it was Jennifer Parr. But she makes handmade soaps. She only sells them locally. But she had won something, and she sent me this soap. It's oatmeal, milk, and honey. Oh my goodness, I love this. My husband loved it too, so it's going directly in the bathtub as soon as I'm done with this video because I've been holding on to it because I wanted to make sure I showed it. And then I got a birthday card from Daylene Wilson. Oh, do I love Miss Daylene. So grateful on Flosstube. Thank you so much, Daylene. Love you, love you, love you. I've watched her since the inception of her channel, and I love her so much. She is just a gracious, kind, wonderful, beautiful soul. Love her so much. And then another birthday card from, I want to say this right. I said to myself, Shelley, read the envelope because I wanted to say the name right. It came from Patricia Rather. Pat Rather. Thank you very, very much. She sent me a birthday card last month, and I appreciate you sending me a little love from California. That was so sweet of you. So that is all of my happy mail. I got a lot of stuff in the mail this month. That was so very sweet. As a matter of fact, I got a call from the post office that said, come check your P.O. box, please. So that was very, very sweet. So, okay, let's see. I tried to keep notes because it's been a hot minute and I want to make sure that I get everything done that I set forth because you can get forgetful when you have so much going on. But another person I'd like to send a shout out to is a young lady named Hallie. Her mom and I met at the Amana retreat, and she told Carrie and I, Carrie Tiger Lily Designs, my real good friend, she told us that her daughter Hallie absolutely loved both of our channels and that she was just a fangirl, and it was so wonderful because during the retreat she was able to FaceTime in and we got to meet her in person over FaceTime, and I had promised, and I'm keeping my word, Hallie. Hi, Hallie. How are you? I'm so excited that you're viewing, and I'm so excited that you're enjoying a middle-aged woman's channel because I feel like I'm able to do and Carrie's able to do is to breathe some encouragement into another young stitcher, and that's exactly what we intend and want to do with our channels. So Hallie, hey girl, so glad to see you. I'm so glad that you continue to watch. So, okay. Well, we've got to get to some stitching, but I want to first announce the winners of the last video's giveaway. Now, on the last video, I showed these two books. One is Works in Progress for quilting, and one is for cross stitching. And the word for the cross stitching one was cross stitch, and this one was quilt. And this one is the cross stitch one, and the cross stitch journal. Did I show the inside? I want to make sure I did. Can you see that? There you go. These sweet little books were written and put together by Tamika Morris, and they can be found on Amazon. They're very reasonably priced and very well put together. And Tamika they had sent me an email, and I got right on there and bought these, and I got them for you. And so the stitch journal goes to Lily Lane 8832. Lily Lane 8832. Do check your handle on YouTube so that you can make sure that it's you indeed. So the stitching one goes to Lily Lane 8832. Congratulations. Just get in touch with me. In the description box is my email, and if you'll just send me an email with your information, I'll get this right out to you. Congratulations. And then the quilting journal goes to Wendy Ulay 6736. I might have just butchered your name. So let's go backwards, and I'm going to spell it. It's Wendy, Wendy, Oullette. Ulay? Not sure. But, and then the numbers are 6736. Wendy Ulay 6736. Wendy, the quilting journal's yours. Contact me and I'll get this right out to you. Congratulations. And then Caroline from Fab Shabby Rose sent this beautiful bag with the little thread bed along with it. It's in this beautiful, beautiful paisley bag. And the winner of this is Nancy Summa, Nancy, Nancy Summa 6560. Nancy Summa 6560. You won the Fab Shabby Rose bag. Give me an email and I'll get this right out to you. Congratulations to all three of you winners. I am so excited for you, and I'll get these right out to you as soon as you contact me. Thank you very much. Okay, so the first thing I think that we will do is let's look at some stitching, because we're pretty much into this video and I want to show you some stitching. I have some finishes, some fully finishes, and I also have some works in progress. The first thing I want to show you is I'm going to show you the charts, and then I'm going to have to insert some pictures, because I I took a gift for my friend Carrie, and then as well I also took my gift that was my gift exchange. So I'm going to show you the charts, and then I will insert along with them photographs because they're not here with me right now. Okay, so I'm going to show you the busyness that I've been doing. Okay, the first thing that I want to show you is a gift that I finished and I made for Carrie, and I took to Amana with me. Now I don't have it with me. I will insert a picture right here. What I did for Carrie is something that we say regularly to one another is, I wish you lived next door. And I had heartstring sampleries, I wish you lived next door, right in my stash. And so I took this out and I used all the called for colors. Now, if you know anything about my sweet friend Carrie, she is a Clemson Tigers fanatic. She is a tiger. And look, these are the Clemson colors. These were the called for colors that went in the pattern, and it had a shade of blue. It was all Weeks Dye Works colors, but I thought, how cool is that? It's got Clemson colors and a blue color, which is my favorite color. So I stitched it for Carrie as is, and I used 32 count Mind Blowing by Fortnite Fabrics. So I think the called for was Oaken. And I think it was called for 32 count Oaken, and I wanted, because I mounted it on a box, I wanted it to fit the box, and I wanted it to be the size because that was perfect. So, but I didn't have any 32 count Oaken, but I did have this. I got this, I think, 2 years ago at StitchCon. And so it was perfect. It was a good substitute for Oaken, and it looked really great. And I was so pleased with it. And so she loved it. And so story time with Shelly right now. So I get to Amana. Bless her heart, 3 for 3. Every retreat the poor girl's been to, she's had some type of issue with transportation. She had to be to the airport at 8 a.m. Eastern time. She was supposed to be to the airport, which was 20 minutes away from Amana, by like 3 o'clock. Long story short, 10 o'clock at night, she shows up. Bless her heart. She spent almost the whole day. And you got to remember, they are on Central Time, so there's that added bonus of that extra hour included in there that gets docked somewhere along the line. So she got to the hotel. Of course, it was hugs and tears, and we were just so excited to see one another. And so we both grab our stuff, and I have my stuff that I'm going to give her on my bed. And she started unloading, and she's like, "Here, you got to open your gift." And so let me just tell you something. If there was ever a human being that is my twin, it is Carrie Chamberlain, Tiger Lily Designs. She thinks exactly like me. She works exactly like me. And every time we turn around, it's like, oh, of course that's your favorite, because everything, the only thing different about these twins here is she's 5 inches taller than me and she's consummately bright colors, which I do love bright colors, but I'm more prim. I'd say that's just about the difference. She is like my twin to the nth degree. So she's like, "Open your gift, open your gift, open your gift." And I walked over and I pulled out these bags. You'll see them because there's some yummy scrumptiousness that she brought me. And then I opened the last thing, and wouldn't you know, Miss Tiger Lily stitched the same thing for me, but she primmed mine up and then used one of my very favorite colors, Old Money, on mine, and she framed it. The only thing different is the colors, and I think she must have done this on 36 count, and she did not stitch the border because she was putting it in a frame. And so I thought, how special is that? Oh, it sits in my stitchy spot in the living room next to my stitchy setup, and I look at it every day. It's so precious to me, and it's even more precious because we were both thinking the same thing, and we thought we were going to surprise one another. Well, we did, but anyway, so that was so much fun. So that was one thing that I had done, was I Wish You Lived Next Door by Beth Twist of Heartstring Samplery. She was the designer for the retreat, and so of course both of us thought that way. So anyhow, that was one finish that I had. Then for my Smalls gift exchange, I did put this on to Instagram, but I took a ruler tray and padded it with Blackbird fabric. I made an accompanying strawberry with it, and I stitched a scissor fob, but I did F is for Friend by Heartstring Samplery. And I made a cube style mattress finished big pincushion, and I love it. Laura Love, who I met at my very first Farm Girl Dry Goods retreat, she's been at every one that I've been at. I love her, and her sister Lindsay and her mother June. They're so precious. She got my gift exchange, so I was really thrilled about that. And so I will insert a picture right here so that you can see my finished smalls exchange. But it was F is for friend. From Heartstring Samplery. I did it on 36 count milk and honey from Fiber on a Whim, and I used the called for colors. And as well, I had done the scissor fob, and I showed it a while back, but it'll be in the picture I just showed. And I used the called for colors for F is for friend, and did my scissor fob in the same threads so that they would balance and match. And so that was another fully finished item. And then this is a fully finished item number 2. I had showed you, I think this is Summer Sweet Berry by Scattered Seed Samplery, and I had framed it. And you know, I looked at it and looked at it and looked at it, and I was like, no, I don't want it in a frame. I want something more from it. And I didn't know what that more was until I was doing some finishing, and I thought, you know, I really just do want it as a pin pillow. And I used the called for threads for it, and I know I did this on 36 count or 40 count. 36 count maybe. No, it wasn't. I think I did it on 40 count, and I think it was Vintage Country Mocha. But I finished it. I took it out of the frame, completely redid it. Hey, let me encourage you. If you don't like the way you finish something, take it apart and do it again. Now I'm super, super happy. I did this little bulb pin with some antique buttons and hung them off of it. And then I finished it like this. And on the back, I did some wool applique and did a little heart because I did a slit in the center. I have it filled with walnut shells and wool from my sheep. All of my pillows I fill with either cotton, but 99.999% of mine are filled with wool from my sheep. And so yeah, Laura's pin cushion, she got a little bit more of me than normal. She got a part of my homestead. She got some wool from my sheep in her pin cushion. So, but anyway, this was a redo of a fully finished that I had already done. So I think this is Summer Sweet Berry, but it is by Scattered Seed Sampleries, and you can find her on Etsy, and you can still get this design. This was part of her Pin Keep Club. I stay a member of her Pin Keep Club. I am a Tammy Black fanatic. I love everything she does. And so that is a refinished, fully finished. And then I have 2 more fully finished. This was a Mill Hill kit, and I finished this. I don't have the box, the Mill Hill kit with me, but it's just all the called for. It's got the called for threads, the called for beads and cryneck. I put a little charm on it. Let me see. There we go. That's a little better. And I took one of my boards. This is from the Chantel's, her mystery box that I just showed in my last video with all the ornament finishes, and she was doing a finish videos for them. I took this, and all I did was I took some antiquing wax. I put a coat on and wiped it off. I put a second coat and wiped it off, and it finished it off. Her products, oh, they're so nice. But so I just took my piece, and this is done on an Ada, and I just took and stripped some of the threads off, and let me get it to, and then I made it so that it had a little edging there, and then I took some velvet and I did a backer board and mounted it onto there, and then just added a bow. But this is how I have it set to display, just this little easel. and that's all ready for Christmas. Isn't that cute? So just a very simple little finish. And the way that I mounted it, funny enough, is I just took a little tiny bit of hot glue and just put it a little thin layer, and then just mounted the stitched piece right to the velvet because I didn't want more layers. It was already thick enough with the board and the backer board. So anyway, I'm really pleased with it. I think it looks really cute, and it's going to be great for the Christmas holidays. So that is another fully finished object. And then I got from Primrose Cottage, I bought their religious trio, and there were 3 designs in here. And I did the Silent Night, which is this one right here. And I did my own conversion. I picked some Belle Soie silks. They're my favorite silks. I used tortoiseshell, red fox, peaches and cream, pecan pie, Attic tea, which is one of my favorite greens, and briar patch. And I used 36 count seraphim. Time goes by, and it's like thyme as in the spice. And I did this sweet little pillow, and I think it turned out absolutely adorable. I added some of this. This fabric is from Kansas City Troubles. And I did the same on the back, and I did some wool felting. I did some wool applique to cover my opening, and then I put some velvet ribbon right here and 2 rusty bells. And I think that it just turned out adorable. And again, it's filled with walnut shells and wool from my sheep. So I think that turned out so cute. I love it, and I love the little bells. So, but yeah. Don't be afraid to do your own conversions. I decided that silk was it for that little booger, and I changed it to Prim It Up. That's how I started, because the colors were slightly more bright. And if you see, let me see if I can, it's showing up a little bit more bright. I think my shirt is making that happen, but it's a little primmier than the original colors were, and so that's what I was going for. So I love that finish. So, and another finish I had was, this is from the Sheep Virtues from Little House Needleworks. It's the Friendship. I don't have the chart. It was not my chart, so I don't have the chart with me because it's with the person who had owned it. And I finished this with all the called for colors. Sheepy sheep. And I love it says 1 + 1 = 2, Friendship. And this is 32 count raw linen. And I really love the way that turned out. I'm going to finish this as a little pin cushion. So, but that is the Little House Needleworks Sheep Virtues. So I finished that, and then I am so excited. I was so close last time, and I showed you all this. I had been working on Stitcher's Resolution by Beth Twist from Heartstring Samplery. And I did this on 28 count doubloon with all the called for colors, and da-da-da, she's all done. Oh, I'm so excited that that's done. That was one of my longest whips, and when I met Beth at Amana, I had told her, I said, you know, I literally do have every one of her charts. I thought I had every one of her charts. I did not. And you'll get to see one that I got while I was out there from the shop, the pop-up shop. But all of the ones I thought were available. I do. Beth Twist Heartstring Samplery is one of my very favorite designers, and I love her so much. But this was one of my oldest residing whips. I think we decided that the copyright on this was, was it 2014? 2014. Yeah. So this was the longest in the stack, and it's all finished now. And I think it turned out lovely. And this will be off to the framer. I'm excited about that. I used all the called for colors, and again, it's on 28 count doubloon by Picture This Plus. And so those are all of my cross stitch finishes. I did have another finish, but it is not cross stitch related, but I know you don't care about that, so I'm just going to show it to you anyway. I am doing the 1840 St. Louis 1840 doll quilt along with Susan Stanley of A Stitch in Time, and I worked on this when I was in a lot of pain. This is all hand pieced and all hand quilted. The experience for this is so that you Susan has so expertly put together this quilt kit. You can get this on her Susan Stanley Stitch in Time website, and she has accompanying videos. I am a seasoned hand piecer and hand quilter, but that didn't matter to me. I wanted to be part of this. I love our community. I love it so much, and I wanted to be a part of this because I say this all the time, and I said it at the retreat. I think I'm about 150 years old on the inside because I'm just kind of an old soul, and I am so gravitated to the slow arts. I have a long arm quilter, but yet I am sitting at a hand quilting frame. I am so attracted to those things. I think the reason why I like all of the slow skill sets is because I feel like I'm stitching parts of my heart into everything I do. And so they are extensions of who we are, really. And I know that may sound corny to some people, but really it doesn't sound corny to me. So that's all that matters, right? And so but Susan, she inspires me. She is such a talented woman. She's a cross stitcher, a quilter, and I know that she has many other talents. But when she put this up, I was so excited and got in on this. And you get your kit, and it's in a bag that she hand sews herself, and all of the instruments down to the little pencil and the little metal template and the little Bristol marking template. Everything in there is exactly how it would be if you would be stitching and be 1840s and be a little girl and learning to stitch. And so she teaches you to hand piece, and she shows you everything from start to finish. I am totally up to date with this. The next thing that she's doing is she's going to be doing showing the binding. And you know, funny enough, I do hand stitch my bindings, but I do apply them on the one side with my sewing machine. So I have never applied a binding 100% by hand. So I'm sure I could figure it out, but I'm just playing along. I want to be part of the club with Susan and everything she does. So I'm waiting patiently for her video. I think it's pretty close to coming out, and we should get to binding this quilt. There were some hexies in there, and there was some cross-stitch linen. All of the threads were from Avera Soie. You got a linen thread to do your basting with, which was really neat. But all of your threads are Avera Soie 103s, and boy, do they quilt deliciously. But so yeah, I'm up to date with this. It's all ready for our next section, and I'm really excited. And I have an antique doll carriage downstairs, and when I'm all done with this, it's going downstairs in the doll carriage to cover the doll baby downstairs. But I'm wondering if those hexies and the linen might not be to make a quilt tag for the back. We shall see. Anyway, so that was my very last fully finished item. Well, that's a finished item. It's finished to where it needs to be. So I'm up to date. Okay, so those are all the finishes and fully finishes. So let me get these back in the basket, and then we'll move on to what I've been stitching on. Okay, well, I took with me to Amana and didn't touch one stitch of it. My birthday sow, Shelley's double nickel birthday sow, which is the Kindness Sampler by Stacy Nash. Let that focus in. And by now I think that you've seen it. And I'm stitching mine on 35 count Weeks Dye Works Cocoa, which is the called for, and I'm using all the called for beautiful threads. They're kind of a train wreck right now because they're in that bag. But so anyway, this is where I got my house all done. You know what? Let me stand up so make sure I want to make sure the camera's getting that. So I got my house done. I absolutely love the windows. They're eyelets, and I really enjoyed that. But I didn't do eyelets. I followed what Brenda the cereal in the cereal star say, where eyelets are called for, you can always do a Smyrna. And I think that they make for the neatest windows. So I have my house in, and I shall be moving on here shortly. But I got all of that done prior to leaving. I had intended to take the Kindness Sampler and work on it there, but I did get lots of stitching done. Well, I shouldn't say lots, but I did get stitching done, more than you would think at a retreat, because there was talk galore, which was so glorious and fun. Our community is one of my very favorite parts about stitching. So anyway, I worked on my birthday sampler, and then as well, this is what I was telling you when I was talking about I had a sampler that is done on Aida. And so, hey, Pat, hey, friend, who I said that nobody would want anything on Aida, I beg to differ with you. This is Elizabeth Manners, 1843 by GGR. And oh, is she a dandy. She's gorgeous. And I am using all the called for colors, which are glorious. And I am stitching her on 16 count Ren by Picture This Plus. And before I pulled her out, I had this little corner, but look at all that I got done since I pulled her out, since I saw you last. I think it looks beautiful. And I think my fabric is beautiful, and boy, is it a comfort stitch. So again, all my Aida stitching friends, look at there. This big, beautiful sampler has been started, and she's being done on Aida. The stitch count is 259 by 240, and so boy, the Aida really does make it glorious to stitch, because you can just whip right through it. And so don't be shy, girls. Stitch on what makes you happy. So I just wanted to I literally pulled this out because of you. I only had a few little stitches, and I pulled it out because I thought I'm going to encourage my girls who are a little bit shy in their confidence about their stitching. So that is GGR. I think everybody called it Miss Manners, but it's Elizabeth Manners. And I'm really enjoying that. And I think I'll just go ahead and keep her in my lineup and get some work done on her. I enjoyed pulling her out to encourage you with. And then, as well, I am stitching along. They are already done with Stitching Friends, the Wee Santa Sal by Heart and Hand Designs, Celia Turner. The Stitchy Friends are doing the Wee Santa Sal, and I joined along. I am stitching mine on 32 count Summer Khaki, and I ordered my kit from Chantel's 141 because I got my backer board, the called for DMC threads, and I'm getting right along with it. I'm getting done, and this is how far. Did I say it's 32 count? Yes, 32 count Summer Khaki. And look at his little legs, aren't they precious? I am a little behind, but I'll catch up. Anyhow, I've really enjoyed this, stitching with the girls, Sarah and Jen. And yeah, I plan on, this will be done by the next time I see you. But I took it too, didn't stitch on it. I stitched on it a little since I've been back. But the other thing that I have been working on, was this is from Owl Forest Embroidery, and it's called Southern Land. Is that not beautimous? I got this several years ago. I was inspired by Lori from Mischievous Stitches, and she was stitching on this, and I had it, and I really didn't do anything with it, and so I was attracted to it because I think these are dragonflies, but they look somewhat butterfly-like, and we know that I have a deep fondness for the butterflies, and the colors are so pretty. I love my thread board that I have it on. Look, it's got barn swallows. And I'm using just the called for DMCs. It's 4 colors. And this is how far I've gotten on. It's going to be really, really pretty. This is the fabric. Oh, here we go. It is Color and Cotton Tea Leaves 32 count. It's such a pretty, pretty linen. I had it in my stash and grabbed it. But anyway, I love this. It's so pretty, and I love just the simplicity of the 4 colors because it's pretty simple to get along. Now, I will tell you this much. I got the app Mark It Up. I got the paid for version. Maybe all of it's paid for version, and I'm using it on my iPad. I cannot show you because I would have to show you the chart. But the thing about it is when I was marking it with my marker, I was like, geez, this really, I can't tell where I'm at. And I've never, ever, ever used my iPad. I've never used my stuff like that to read charts, so this is the first time for me, and I did even have to change it because when I would mark it out, it would mark it the same color. So I changed my marking so that it came in highlighter yellow so that I could tell that I marked it. Even on the computer, I was having a hard time because it's got such monochromaticism to it, is what I think I should say. It's blue where it's blue, but when you get to like the flowers, like you could see the differentiation there and stuff like that. But when even the markup was marking it in its same color, just a little darker, but still I was like, this is a pain in the butt. So I changed my markup color to a highlighter yellow, and I'm going to do that throughout. So anyway, yeah, I think it's awful darn pretty, and it's stitching up pretty. And it'll probably take me 10 million years, I think, because of the marking stuff. But it's much better on the pad. So I did find that software is kind of nice. I tried it on my phone, and then I iCloud downloaded it onto my my iPad because I needed it to be bigger. So anyhow, but that's Southern Land by Owl Forest Designs. And then I'm saving my 2 pieces that I worked on at retreat. Look at this. You see Gamma's Treasures. This is farm. I think it's called Goat Yoga. I love this. I've showed you this before. This big bag is being used because what's inside of here are 3 shepherd's bush stockings. And the one that I'm working on is for my granddaughter. And this was the Roma stocking, but it has the purples and the pink shepherdess. And this is my very first shepherd's bush stocking, and I was so excited. I bought these quite some time ago, and I'll show you, you'll crack up laughing. These are all the pearl cottons. I mean, I've got a big old bag of pearl cottons. These are all the Weeks Dye Works pearl cottons. It did call for a Classic Colorworks pearl cotton for black coffee. Is that what it was called? Black coffee? But anyway, I don't think they're making it anymore. And so Teresa Vanette at the last Farm Girl Dry Goods retreat, she was stitching on one, and we were talking about it, and I had bought these prior to that, and I was saying that to her. I said I couldn't get that, and she said, Shelly, just grab yourself a Classic Colorworks black coffee and stitch it all stitch 6 strands. And I was like, oh, well, geez, you'd think. Yeah, thanks, Teresa. But so they call for the Weeks Dye Works number 5 pearl cottons and some DMCs. These are the threads for all 3 of these. I haven't started the boys yet, but I did start Veda's. Oh, it's right in front of me. And this is how far I got. I just love it. And you know what's so fun about this? You use a size 20 needle. Can you see that? And this fabric, it called for 18 count raw linen. But when I ordered it, I ordered everything. I pushed the button. And what I got, I think at the time maybe 1, 2, 3 stitch was out of the raw, but I'm kind of glad. Now look, I showed you my piece that was on raw linen, my 32 count, my Sheep Virtues Friendship, and the raw linen tends to be crunchy and hard. This is 18 count Floba. Now Floba, I looked it up before I even filmed, and it is part linen, but I think it's rayon and linen, but it's just so soft and so nice. So it is just a dream to stitch on. And I don't even need my cheaters. I'm blind as a bat and wear multifocal contacts and still will stitch with a 3.0 up, sometimes up to a 5.0 when I'm doing 46 count. I'm stitching on this without one bit of readers, and it's just so fun, all in hand. Just I'm in love with it, and it's stitching up so quick. And so this is the Roma stocking from Shepherd's Bush, and I have enough fabric because I got a yard, so I have enough for the 3 I have, and then I can do another one after that, and I can just see this being a thing. But I got the Parker stocking to do for my youngest grandson, Zion. And it's got Santa and a snowman, and it's just cute, and snowmen all over. And then I got the Brett stocking to do for my middle grandson, Davy. And the reason why I got it is it has a boat on there, and Davy loves to fish. And so I thought that really kind of exemplified these both remind me of my grandboys. So anyway, but those are the 3 in there. I'm working on the Roma one, all called for colors. And this Floba 18 count is the color oatmeal, but it was literally what was on the send it to me situation when I ordered these. That's why I'm saying I think they must have been out. So anyway, there's my Roma. 2 little sheep are on there, the little shepherd. I got a great start on it, and I'm pretty thrilled with it. So it's a lot of fun. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So those are all the things that I worked on since I've been home from retreat. But I saved the last 2 things, and they were what I stitched on at retreat. And they are right here. Look at this bag. Isn't that so pretty? Carrie made us matching bags. This has got the vintage stitching, and she even attached the crochet. I told her she needs to put these and sell these in her website. And I love this bag. Look, it's this tall, odd shape, and it's great because it can hold so much. But what's in here is she had talked about wanting to start the American sampler because it's a Virginia sampler that Paulette from Plum Street Samplers had made. Now, when I was at the spring retreat, Rachel, Needle and Flax, from Needle and Flax, Linens, she was stitching on this across the table from me, and when I saw it in person, once again, when you see these things in person, it just does it for you. And so I was sitting at the table, got on 1, 2, 3 stitch while I watched her stitch on it. Yeah, and sent a cart right there and send me everything. And I am stitching this. This is 40 count. It's 40 count, and it's Northumberland. It's Northumberland linen from Northumberland Samplers. Oh, look, I found a treat in my bag. Yum. Wait till I tell you about Denise, Goose, her and the M&Ms. It's between me and her. It's a joke, but I'll tell you about it. This is 40 count Northumberland Sampler House Oak is the color of linen that I'm using. And I started and got on the top border, and I think for being at retreat, that's pretty good. So I got all the way to the top of this is the flagpole right here. So I got from the corner to, I think that's about the middle spot. It's the middle spot of the house right here. So I got the top border to the middle point. All the called for colors. But considering what you do is play and talk and giggle and have fun, hey, I got started, didn't I? I have something to show. Very little, but I got something to show. It was so much fun. All the called for colors, I think I just said that to you. So that was a lot of fun. And then the last thing that I stitched on while I was there was Carrie and I went back to the pop-up shop that Beth Twist had, and we saw these birds, and she brought her entire Christmas collection. This pattern is from 2009, I think, and I was stunned because I was like, wait a minute, I've never seen that. Is that new? And they were like, no, that's not new. And let's see, I'm looking for it. I think it was 2010. 2010. That's a long minute ago. So no, I did not know about these birds. But their wings have stitching on them. And there is courage and peace and truth and hope and grace and faith. And all those things have been on my mind lately. And so when I saw that, Carrie and I were like, yep, that's going to be our start today. So we ran over we bought the pattern. We went to the quilt shop next door. We picked out Country Redwood by Sampler Threads by Gast. Such a pretty color. We bought a big, Carrie bought the linen. And you know what? On her video, she didn't know the linen either, and I don't know the linen either, but we do know it's 40 count because it needed to fit. And so I got Joy and Peace done while we were there. It says, for you, Joy, and I wish you peace. So she says she's sending her birds to me to finish. Go ahead, I'll finish them for you, so send them on, Carrie girl. So we are stitching this together, and so yeah, we did that at retreat. So I got 2 bird wings, and from the top left to the center of the top border of the sampler done, and that was it. And so that now is the very, very last thing that I stitched since I saw you last. But I think that's still, even with being sick and everything, I think I did pretty good, don't you? Okay, so now Now I want to do the giveaways for this video, and I'm pretty darn excited about some of this stuff. Well, you'll see. Okay, so for this video, if you would like any of the items, remember that you need to comment the word that I give you into the comments. As well, you need to be 18 because I need to ask you your address. And if you would not mind, I would appreciate if you'd like and subscribe. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that more after I show you the items that I'm going to give away today. So I'm going to start with, I have Stacy Nash's Velvet Parsnips Needlebook. This is going to be the first giveaway. And if you would like this pattern, use the word parsnip. That is just adorable. The second thing that is our giveaway today is I showed, not in the last video, but I think the video before that, that I had taken a motif and an initial and stitched it on 46 count, and I made my own necklace. Well, I got you one. This is a glass locket, they call it. And I got one for you. And if you would like to make your own stitching necklace, then use the word locket. And this locket will be yours, and you can stitch your own necklace. Okay. Since I was showing you the wonderful shepherd's bush stockings, I thought maybe one of you would want to stitch a stocking too. And so I have Jeffrey's stocking. And if you would like this shepherd's bush Jeffrey stocking, then use the word stocking. And the next few items were graciously provided for our giveaway today by the Fat Quarter Shop. Thank you so much, Kimberly and your team. You guys are fantastic. I love you all, and you just are just fantastic. So these giveaways were provided by Fat Quarter Shop. The first one is Penny from the Chicken Club. She's adorable. And the word for this chart is penny. If you would like this, then comment the word penny. The next chart is Fall Harvest. And there we go. And it was just their most recent chart for their club. And if you would like this Fall Harvest pattern, please use the word harvest. Isn't that adorable? It's cute for this time of the year. And then they also sent their October stackable. It's adorable. It's got a little scarecrow. Love that. Little cup of cider pointing toward the corn maze. It'd be cute for a fall display. And if you would like this chart, use the word stack. And then the last thing that Fat Quarter Shop sent was, this is a beautiful quilt pattern, and it's called Alpine Blooms by Crystal Stahl. And it was produced by It's So Emma. But isn't that beautiful? You could change the colors to represent your favorite colors or do it just as. But if you would like this Alpine Blooms quilt pattern, please use the word blooms. B-L-O-O-M-S. Now, the last giveaway has been provided by me. Now, my last little snippet video, the morning that I was leaving for Amana, Iowa, and I popped on, I told you what my big secret was. And my big secret is for months and months, I had been sewing and sewing and sewing. I sewed 300 bags to celebrate Keepsakes' 25th anniversary. I made 150 large bags and 150 notions bags to match. And I know that that afternoon that every one of them sold out, and they had bundles. And Georgia Girl made a beautiful pattern called Welcome Home. And I know that people had set their timers and they were so excited. And I wished I could have sewed more and more, but you know, there's only so much a person can do. And so 300 bags, 150 small, 150 big was my limit. But I have another secret. I actually sewed 300 in two, because I made a set for you, my friends. And I also got the pattern from Georgia Girl so that one of my lucky friends could participate in what they thought was gone. And so for one of you, my sweet friends, there is one set that I made just for you. And if you would like to get this set, then the word for this is keepsake. Keepsake. And I was so excited. I really did think I would be back way before now. You know, life happens, and I know you understand that. We can't change sickness and death. So, but I think it actually made it even a little more fun, because nobody would have ever expected that there was another set. And so, but I would never, ever, ever leave you out. And I had asked Barbara way in advance, and she said, no, Shelley, I think that's a fantastic idea. So if you missed out and did not get the bundle, well, I got you covered, friend. So keepsake is the word. And if you will put that into the comments, one lucky person is going to win this bundle. And I am so thrilled about that. And while we're here, while we're at this juncture, I wanted to talk to you about something that I am so very excited about. And that is that as of this video, I think that we are 100 and maybe 17 or 18 subscribers shy of 10,000 subscribers. Wow. That's just so stunning to me. I mean, it's jaw-dropping, and it's all you. And I am so excited that we have spent this time together, and you have been interested in the things that I've had to say and show, and you've showed your support and you've showed your love. And so we are super, super shy of 10,000, and I don't think that'll take very, very long to reach. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, please like and subscribe, because what I want to tell you is when I hit the 10,000 mark, I am going to have a giveaway of epic proportions. If the 8,000 subscriber extravaganza is going to be a cakewalk compared to what's coming, because I want to honor you and what you've done by supporting this channel. And I've reached out over the last months to some of my favorite people who have been so supportive of me, and I have curated some of the neatest and wonderfulest gifts to give to you, and I'm only going to throw one of them out there right here while I'm sitting here. But the 12 Days of Christmas from Miss Tiger Lily Designs, I have one of those for you, as well as I have the October box as well for one of you. So when we hit, when this channel hits 10,000 and about 117, 18 people, I am going to have the blowout of all giveaways to celebrate you, because I feel like that's all about you. And so, to show that appreciation, I'm just going to have a video party for you. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there. So like and subscribe, and that shouldn't be too much longer. So anyway, all right, so I have stacks and stacks and stacks of stuff, and I'm going to try to go through it very, very quickly, because we have been on and on and on here. So I've got a bucket full of things that were gifts that were given to me. I'm going to show you first. Carrie brought me these two bags. And inside of them were goodies. The first thing she brought me was a whole box for my project library of secure box. She had a whole box to gift me of her project tags to put on my bags in my project library. So she brought me a whole box of them because Lord knows I have that many whips, and that's the truth. If you watched, you know, and you're gonna start seeing those things. She brought me some creamed honey with blackberry. She went on a trip and she picked me that up. She went antiquing and found some tins for me because I make pin cushions with those. And then she brought me a fat quarter bundle of some absolutely stunning fabric that might be about a little secret. And then, oh, I taught her to hand piece. And I was hand piecing. I have been looking for this little stinker since I got home. I was hand piecing a star, teaching Carrie to hand piece in the hotel room. Yep, I've been looking for this little booger. It was underneath that fabric. Well, there you go. Found that. Okay, so that was in that bag. Then she went to Sestari Farms, which was a sheep farm, and she brought me some yummy wool from there, and this is from their flock. This is a natural colored yarn from their flock. And they have Rambouillet, which is a wonderful, wonderful wool. And then she got me some blue. And I think that's about it. And then she brought me my bag, and she brought me my gift. And so, yeah, those were goodies that I got in the hotel room from my bestie. Okay. These were my little boxes that I took. My daughter and I put these together, and I took 100 of these. And what I put inside there to give as gifts to my friends was I put a couple Reese cups in there. I put scissors. These little boogers are sharp. They're wonderful. And then I put a little seam ripper. Just a little something in case they forgot their scissors and seam ripper. We all need a little something. Tried to be a little different. This was another gift that was given to me, and before I show that, I want to move this because one of my sweet viewers, Laura Schrott, I think that's how you say your last name, Laura. I'm sorry if it's not, but she is so precious. I got to sit with her and just talk. She is so sweet. She made, this is freestanding lace that she made this angel on her embroidery machine. So this is going on my Christmas tree. It's so pretty. She made me that. She obviously watches like she says she does because she knows I love sheep, and so she brought me this little sheep dish. This is going to go back here on the shelf. And then she also brought me this wool hooker's goods. And I am a wool hooker because I rug hook. And those were the small things that Laura brought me. But Laura brought me some big things. Let me just tell you, wow. You know, I just got the 3 quilts from the other stitchy friend. Well, Laura brought me 3 quilts to Amana. And I just can't thank her enough. She brought this one. Isn't that pretty? She brought me this one. And this is one that I do not have in my collection at all. This is an apple core. And I love it. It's all done in feed sack material. And then look at the back. The back's just as pretty. They're all hand pieced and they're all hand quilted. And look at that scrappy yumminess. Laura, I love you, friend. How sweet of you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Lord, there is nothing like stitchy friends, are there? I just, wow. Well, some of the other things that I got were, Michelle handed out some finishing fabrics, some cute Christmas scissors, some candies and some trims. to each and every one of us, and a waxer. I think her and Gary hand poured these. Oh, I love the smell of fresh wax, beeswax. But that was so sweet. So there's some really cute fabrics. What a nice gift that Michelle gave to each and every one of us. Another person went through and she made mug rugs. She quilted mug rugs for each and every one of us. French General, love that. Denise Goose. She made thread beds for each and every one of us, 100 of us. Wow. Look at this. This is from Sweet Teresa Kogut. I just love you, Teresa. When I think of Teresa Kogut and when I think of Beth Twist, the very first words that come to my mind are gracious and approachable. They are the two sweetest ladies ever, and this was such a sweet little treat. This is going downstairs in my Christmas decorations. Thank you, Teresa. And thank you to both you and Beth for just such approachable, wonderful, loving people. I love them so much. Such sweet ladies. Then Debbie Dodge and my friend Darlene Vinay, they walked around and they gave these are what go on the top of a file. But what they showed to do with this, let me see, I've got some Weeks Dye Works right here. Let me show you. They showed you to take this and hook this to your Weeks Dye Works. And then you get the little hanger or another place to hang your extra thread. Is that the coolest? And they're, I'm gonna hold this up there, called a slot hanging plastic tab. I'm going to hold this really close so that hopefully you can read that. Focus in on that. But that's how you can get them on Amazon. This is the neatest little idea ever, ever, ever. That was a unique thing to bring and give as a treat at a retreat. And then, let's see, my friend Amber Malone, she is so precious. She made the cutest little wool ball pin cushions and put a pretty pin in the top. And she made it out of a little wooden spool. That was a gift, a table gift. And then, let's see. Oh, and then my friend Christy, who's been there, Christy Fear, she's been at every single retreat and always sits near us. She kitted up for everyone at our table, all 6 of us, this beautiful sample from Perman of Copenhagen. She gave us the chart, the bag, and all the threads, as well as the little tags to put our threads on. So thanks, Christy. It was so sweet, and it was so good to see you. These retreats are so wonderful to visit your friends from far and wide, and my community is. I love my community as much as I love my stitching. So as well, Christy, like I said, I've seen her at every retreat I've gone to in Amana, and it was my birthday. So she brought me a birthday gift, and since she was coming anyway, she just brought it. She found me the 3rd book from 1660 because it was the one I didn't have. She got me this, The Art of William Morris and Cross Stitch. Oh, my Lanta. It's got patterns, from William Morris, and you know, we all know I love Strawberry Thief, and there it is right on the cover. So she brought me that, a calendar with a butterfly on it for the year to come, a little antique book. It's called The Visions of Sir Landfall Lowry, The Holy Grail by Tennyson. A beautiful birthday card. And then she brought me some patterns. She was working on this. Started and finished this at the last retreat. She did. My camera turned off, so I don't know where it turned off, but I'm going to hold this back up. Christy brought me this Freedom Pen Roll. She started and finished it in Amana. Flags and Stars by Bent Creek. And she also brought me the Liberty Silk Pack, and I don't think there's, well, maybe there is, yep, the silk's in there, but this pattern. So that was a gift that was brought to me there. And then, as well as when I was there, Denise from Goose Designs turned around and said, "Hey, Carrie, hey, Shelly, I want to give you a bag." And she brought, oh my goodness, look at this cutie patootie, Christmas cookies and candies. So this was a gift from Denise from Goose Designs. And then June, Laura Love's mother, I got her smalls exchange, or her, this was not the smalls exchange. This was, you have one exchange one day and one exchange the other day. And what the exchange is something that is stitching related. So she kitted up Heartstring Samplery Scary Sampler with the thread. And she got a Denise from Goose's thread bed and a project bag for it to go with that. So it's the whole shabam. So thanks, June. I loved my gift. Thank you. And then this is hilarious. So for the smalls exchange, I was kind of shocked. I had gone up and I chose, and I got stolen from. And so then I got to choose again. And funny enough, I did not know my friend Sherry Ward, who is in my local stitching group and who we rode together to Iowa. Neither one of us saw each other's packages. I had no idea, but I got her smalls exchange and I was so excited. She made a folio. And there's, I had the sweet card inside there from her. And so one side is just to put your charts and stuff behind, and then one side's vinyl. And then Sting Like a Bee from Heartstring Samplery, she stitched it and attached it to the front. So I got that. So those were all the gifties that I got while I was in Amana. And then there was the shopping. So I'm going to try to go through this quickly. Amazing Grace is my very favorite antique shop. Went there. Got this beautiful basket. This is a handmade basket, really sturdy. I love baskets. I carry things back and forth between the houses, and there's always a project. So I bought that at Amazing Grace. I also bought this quilt. This quilt is the neatest thing ever. What came with it, I'll pull it out and show you in just a minute. But it's all pineapple blocks. They were hand pieced, and it's hand quilted. But what's so neat is the little envelope that comes with it, and you see that old-fashioned writing. That is the maker. She says 4 yards and 15 inches of green, 3.5 yards of lavender. She has then every quilt piece, and then some of them cut out for her blocks, and then another envelope, and so it has its provenance with it. It's got some of the original fabric with it, and it is just beautiful. There's an extra block that was made, and here it is. Then there was a pillow sham that was handmade, all hand stitched. And then the quilt. And so this is for my private collection. Isn't she lovely? So I have the maker's name. I have all of her instructions, and I can see her stitches front and back, and I have a quilt block that's not finished. It's almost finished. It's just not been added to anything. So I think maybe she might have been going to make another sham. I don't know, but I bought that for my private collection. And then let me put this all back together here so that I keep track of it, because this will all be put near this in my collection in my house. because that's really special to have a piece like this with all of that with it. Okay, Michelle had a pop-up shop, and in there there were Beth brought a bunch of things. I bought the Festive Little Fobs Christmas edition. I swear I have all of them, but I couldn't remember if I had that one. So if I have duplicates, somebody will get it, because you know I'll put it in a giveaway. And then I love this. This came with a little tiny wooden board to mount it in the fabric, but you do this little berry bowl 1/1. Isn't that beautiful? And then I bought this Advent Candles ornament set. So pretty. Make a quick little ornament. And then Michelle had some items as well. I have wanted to do this. This is a Brenda Gervais pattern. I've wanted to do this forever. And I had this pattern in my private stash, but she put together the kit to do the pillow like that. And so anyhow, I bought that. And then what I bought, which I'm just going to show you, Michelle had done a club where she took and did all of these things, and she made kits. And so I bought a whole bunch of these wool kits. Now, not all of them have their pictures. Some of them do, but most of them do not. They just have their names, Merry Wishes, and To You From Me, gift tag holder. So the kits are to go because Michelle had a club to go with this Debbie Busby Jingle All the Way book and had a club. So I bought the book and I bought some of these kits, and then my friend Amber Malone is sending me the rest of the kits because she was part of the club. So I bought that in the pop-up shop. And then I went to the Woolen Needle, and I love that shop. I bought this, which is a wool applique, and it's a winter welcome. I bought the pattern, and I bought the bundle to do that. I bought this hand quilting kit. This is one of my very favorite quilt designs. It's called the Seven Sisters, and so this pattern is called Circle of Sisters, and it comes with the pattern and all the templates. Bought that. And then Carrie and I both bought the 3-sheet pincushion wool applique kit. There we go. Bought that, and it comes with all the wool to do that. And then I bought the Little Sisters, which is a English paper piecing kit to do this mat right here, which is a version or a type of the Seven Sisters. You can see them in there, but anyway, I bought that there. Love, love, love the Woolen Needle. Enjoyed my visit there. I did go to the Little Red Hen 2 times. 2 times. I could just scream because I want to take everything home from there, and I tried to be good. So I went on my way. Sherry and I stopped, and then on the way back, when Carrie got there, I went back and showed her. Now, you're going to get a good laugh out of this. I don't normally do this, but for you I will because it's hilarious. I was checking out the very first time, and this was sitting on the counter. And what this is a miniature daylight magnifier travel lamp. Look at that. Well, they said, well, do you want to know how a lot of the stitchers use that? Now, you guys, you're going to laugh, but I'm going to show you what they showed me because a girl's got to share. They said they call it the booby light. You hook it just like this and open the top, and you can stitch just like that. Look at that. You get your magnifier, it just hooks right in your shirt. So the girls, at the Little Red Hen say this is the booby light. But anyway, it's very cool. And look, it fits in the palm of your hand. It's so small. You can find these on Amazon. Oh my, I don't do that very often, but anyway, there you go. So it's called the Yo-Yo by Daylight Company that makes the Halo Goes. So anyway, yeah, there you go. It's battery operated, fits in your bag really well. You're welcome. Another thing I bought there was Carrie and I saw this on the wall. It's a quilt kit. And I call the Little Red Hen Kitlandia because they have kits for everything. Wool applique, quilts, you name it, cross stitch. And look at how beautifully this is all curated up as a kit. And then I bought this. This is Chessie and Me 1864 House Sampler. Here's a cross stitch kit. All the threads, the fabric, bam, done. Love that. Then I bought Threads That Bind. This is by Sean Williams. It's a alphabet song. It's a wool applique kit. Look at that. Isn't that great? I just like a package you can pick up and walk out and be done. And then I bought this. This is called the Zippered Project Pouch with Magnet Zipper Pull. Hawthorne by Kathy Schmitz. Is that not adorable? Wool applique on that, and you just make yourself a little project bag. I think I will put my knitting in it. I don't know, but it's cute. So I bought that. And then I bought this little Season's Greetings by Little House Needleworks. Just a little something to do a quick stitch. And then I bought these two. I just am a sucker for little, but I'm an Ohio girl, so I love an Ohio Star. These are tiny little quilt books. Look, it's about the size of my hand. I bought this one, and then I bought the Farmhouse Quilts Baskets and Blooms. But those are adorable. So that's a really nice size quilt pattern, so you can throw it in your bag. You could take it with you if you're going to go stitch someplace. So I really enjoyed myself, and I tried to be good because I'm crazy over there. So I only have a few more things to show you, and I did get some acquisitions since I was gone, and I came home. The Primrose Cottages has Free Pattern Friday, and this was the last Free Pattern Friday, and it's a little table runner, and it's called The Great Granny. And so you sign up for their newsletter for cross stitching and quilting, but then they sold the kits. So I bought the kit, and they were for sale prior to the Free Pattern Friday, and so I got the kit to go with that. Then from Fat Quarter Shop, oh, I love this book. It's called Celebrate with Quilts. But what is so neat in here is they give you, I am a sucker. I love traditional blocks. Remember, I'm 150 years old on the inside. This book is filled. I can't pull it up because all the patterns are on every page. It has literally just the book is filled with all the different traditional patterns. But what is so neat in the very back is they give you this little pattern. I'm trying to, oh, here it is. I'm going to show you this page. To do the 3-inch blocks and make them into pin cushions. I am going to make myself a giant bowl full of pin cushions and practice all the blocks in this book that I may have not made yet. So it's got the patterns in there, and I will be using my treadle machine to do that because traditional blocks, I'll probably pick some primitive fabric, and then I get all happy and get on the treadle machine and so I'm really excited about that. And then I also got from Burgett, from the Wishing Thorn, Ada Davies sampler, 1852. And I got the thread pack with it. Oh, Burgette, love this. That house is so different. The way it's shaped. Love, love, love that. And then I also got, I was so thrilled about this, but Hobby House had the exclusive for Hands Across the Sea, Martha Walmsley. And I got the fabric, the 103s. This is a microfiber cloth, a pack of cards, and the gorgeous Martha Walmsley. Isn't it stunning? I have wanted to sink my needle into this, but I didn't because I wanted to show it to you first. I also got the last installment for the year for the Sweeter Than Honey Pin Keep, which is the Scattered Seed Samplers Pin Keep Club. This is the last one for the year. Love, love, love that. And then, as well, Susan Stanley, Stitch in Time, she is curating sets of fabrics that are curated for time periods, and this one is called General Store Set 1, and they cover the 1830s through the 1860s, and these are what the fabrics would have looked like from back then. I think I'll use these for some of my pin cushions. Wouldn't that be just beautiful? See, I'm telling you, you get your vibe. You get your 1830s through 1860s fabric. You get on your treadle machine. You pull up your cool fabric, a Fat Quarter Shop book, and you sit down and you make some quilt blocks and make some pin cushions. So I wanted to do that. And then the last thing I got while I was gone and I came home was the Fanciful Flamingo. Alicia, she had her Favorite Things box come out for October. And I know that everybody has seen this, but I will show you once again because now it's not a secret because it's so far, I'm so far behind. There was a bow maker from Chantel's 141. The thread. This absolutely adorable Erin Elizabeth design. Oops, I'm boxing you there. Erin Elizabeth Tree of Joy design. And then some very pretty pins. Some pretty pins. Some beautiful ribbon. And some finishing fabric. And also some little project tag. And a sticker. So, whoo, girls, I reached the bottom of the pile. It was so fun. It was so fun. But you know, when I've been gone this long, whoo, that's a whole bunch of showing. So anyway, those are my whips, my finishes, my fully finishes. It is my retreat recap. There's the giveaway winners and the giveaways for this video. And I have had a wonderful time with you today. And I thank you so much for joining me. And I will be back, and I will not be gone again that long. As long as the, you know, the river don't rise. But anyway, I plan to be back sooner than that. I thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and I will see you again, my friends. And until then, I wish you many happy stitches. Bye-bye.